The modern world is flooded with technology. Oftentimes, major technological advances can go unnoticed by the majority of people, leading to lots of devices or products we see in our day-to-day life that appear to serve no purpose. For example, have you ever wondered why escalators have those strange brushes at the base of the wall? You're about to find out their true purpose, so stick around. Today we'll be explaining 10 things you didn't know the purpose of. But before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button and ring the bell. Otherwise, your next escalator trip may end in disaster. For real though, be careful on escalators. They can cause serious injuries if you're too careless. Number 10. Most fruits and vegetables you buy at the local grocery store have a sticker on them. We all usually just rip these stickers off before eating, but they aren't just used to advertise the brand, farm, or product. They serve a very helpful purpose. Food allergies are becoming increasingly common, which has led to many companies and farms to resort to alternative means of producing crops. Some farmers have changed the fertilizers they use or eliminated pesticides from crop production altogether. These changes can result in serious health benefits for at-risk buyers, but most of us rarely consider what goes into the fruits we buy at the store. After all, they're natural, right? They have to be healthy. Well, not necessarily. Many fruits are produced using genetic engineering, harmful pesticides, or harmful fertilizers. Chemicals from these products can make their way into our fruits and vegetables and cause major health concerns as we age. Cancer is one of the most commonly reported ailments from eating fruits or vegetables that have been tainted with pesticides or harmful fertilizers. The stickers on fruits help to designate which products have been grown organically and which ones have been produced with harmful chemicals. For example, if the product has a 4-digit code and the first number is a 4, that means that the fruit has been previously sprayed with pesticides. If the fruit has a 5-digit code and the first number is a 9, that means that the product was produced organically and follows all national organic laws. If the fruit has 5 digits and the first number is an 8, that means it was produced using genetic engineering. Laws have been put into place to limit the number of pesticides and chemicals that can be used during crop production. But that doesn't necessarily mean that these products are completely safe. Those who have sensitive bowels or autoimmune disorders, some of these chemicals can place the person at great risk for health problems. So the next time you're buying fruit at your local grocer, take a second look at that label and make sure of what you're eating. Number 9. These days, it is fairly easy to cook virtually anything you want at home. We have modern amenities that previous generations couldn't even dream of. Instant Pot is a great example of this. Foods that used to take 8 hours or more to cook can now be crafted in just 30 minutes or less. This technology has also worked its way into the pastry business, particularly concerning cakes, pies, and donuts. Have you ever wondered why donuts have a hole in the middle? It's not simply so they can cook the donut holes separately and charge you twice the price for them. Rather, it was because chefs many years ago could not figure out a way to cook donuts thoroughly without leaving the center raw. To combat this, they decided to cut the middle part out so that the deep fryer or oven could get the center of the pastry just as hot as the rest of it. Even though most modern ovens and deep fryers are perfectly capable of cooking a donut all the way through, chefs have continued to cut holes in the middle to stay in line with previous traditions. After all, what is a donut without a donut hole? Number 8. If you've driven the early 2000s or late 1990s car, you've probably noticed the black dots that are placed around the top of the windshield. These dots can be found in many modern cars too, but they were crazy popular in the 1990s. These dots aren't simply to look pretty, they have a very practical purpose. Manufacturing windshields is quite difficult. It is hard to even comprehend the amount of precision and science that goes into designing a windshield that is built to last. These dots were created to help the windshield's many layers seal. The dots are thick ceramic paint that is coated during the manufacturing process. They help to evenly distribute the heat that is created during production so that the windshield doesn't crack or burst on the assembly line. The band of dots is called frets, and it is incredibly important to the structural integrity of the windshield. Number 7. We have all written or drawn in lined paper at some point. This is the most common type of paper used in many schools, if your school still uses paper at all. Many schools and colleges have begun transitioning to computers or tablets, but trust us, paper used to be the only option when it came to homework or schoolwork. The lined paper was designed as a way for students and experts to keep their text separated easily without risking their words stringing together on the edge of the page. The blue lines serve a simple purpose of keeping our text aligned, but have you ever wondered what the red lines are for? Many of us would probably think that it's simply an area for teachers to write mean notes about our lack of work ethic or poor penmanship, but they serve a much deeper purpose that dates back hundreds of years. Bookworms and rats used to commonly destroy books. They would chew on the pages and leave authors with a jumbled mess, though researchers began to notice that rats would typically only chew on the edges of books. This caused many people to leave the edges of the paper clear of writing, but manufacturers soon began printing a thick red line so that you would know where to stop writing to lessen the chance of a rat chewing through your important documents. Even though it's not a problem anymore, manufacturers continue to print the red line, mostly because teachers would have nowhere else to judge us. Number 6. It's unlikely that any of us would remember this, but golf balls used to be completely smooth, similar to a ping pong ball. However, as professional golfers would practice their swings, they began to notice that older golf balls that had been beaten, scratched, and scarred would perform far better than new balls. This led to manufacturers producing balls that already had dimples cut into them, resulting in the modern golf ball. Pretty interesting. Number 5. Have you ever stopped to think about why many suits or jackets have a strip of cloth on the back with buttons securing it to either side of the coat? These days, this strip of fabric serves no other purpose than looking fashionable. However, it served a very important purpose many decades ago. This type of jacket used to only be available to soldiers or military personnel. The jackets were custom tailored so that soldiers could move around freely without being restricted by their clothing. The easiest way to tailor a coat was to sew this strip of cloth on the back so that the coats could be adjusted quickly while in combat. At the end of the day, the straps could then be undone and the jackets could be used as blankets. Most jackets these days do not serve this purpose, but many modern coats still have this famous strip of cloth. Number 4. If you've used a padlock before, you've probably noticed 2 small holes on either side of the key slot. These holes weren't put there for their appearance. They're very important to the design of the locking mechanism. As locks age, they begin to have internal friction between the metal components. Much like a car engine, the only way to mitigate the problem is to place oil or lubricant in the locks so that they operate smoothly. These holes were placed there so that motor oil could be injected into the locks to extend their life. WD-40 works great as well. The next time you have a lock that is jammed or difficult to operate, pour some oil in these holes and your problem will likely be solved. Number 3. Even though wired headphones are becoming a thing of the past, they can still be found in many tech stores across the world. Every pair of headphones has a connector with 3 stripes on it. You may have never thought much about these stripes, but they are actually what allows the headphones to function. These stripes divide the different layers of metal on the tip, each of which coincides with the left speaker, right speaker, then a ground or microphone connector. Number 2. Most modern coins used as currency have ridges along the edges. This may seem rather useless these days, but hundreds of years ago these ridges were cut to keep people from chipping away pieces of the coin and selling it on the second-hand market. The cut versions of the coin would then be passed on for their full value. By cutting these ridges into the coins, vendors could easily tell if coins had been altered in any way. This process has been used since the 16th century and continues to this day, even though clipping coins are very rare these days. Number 1. Have you ever looked at your fingers? We all have.
Duh.
But take a closer look at your fingernails. If you haven't already trimmed it off, we all have cuticles at the base of our nails. This is essentially a layer of thick skin that protects our nails. Most manicures involve trimming your cuticles, but this can be dangerous. This skin helps to create a tight seal around your nails to fill the gap between your nails and your skin. By cutting or trimming your cuticles, you're exposing your nail bed to potential infections and germs that can seriously harm your nails and body. Lightly trimming your cuticles may be okay, but try not to get in the habit of trimming them completely. Even though this skin may seem useless, it's very important to your health.